Lesson 1, Primary Trigonometric Ratios of Obtuse Angles. So an obtuse angle is any angle that is greater than 90 degrees. And when you have an obtuse triangle, that means that it has an angle that is bigger than 90 degrees in it. Supplementary means two angles that add up to 180. So we're going to fill out the following chart. So for first one, A, which is 100 degrees. I'll just write that down here. It's already on your chart, but I just don't have room on mine. So we want to figure out 100 degrees, the sine of 100 degrees to 4 decimals. So type sine of 100 into your calculator and you should get 0.9848. Type cos of 100 degrees and you should get negative 0.1736. Tan of 100, you should get negative 5.6713. So those are your primary trig ratios, sine, cos, and tan. Next, we're going to find the supplement. So if you take 180 and you subtract 100, 180 subtract 100, you get 80 degrees. So now we're going to do the same thing, but instead of putting 100 degrees, we're going to do it of 80 degrees. So type sine of 80 degrees and you should get 0.9848. Cos of 80 degrees, you get 0.1736. Tan, you get 5.6713. So if you look at this, you should notice that your sine values are exactly the same. Your cos values are the exact same but the opposite sign, and as well as your tan. So you should find that happens with every single one of our degrees. So B is 110 degrees, so we're going to fill that out. So it's 0.9397, negative 0.342 after you type this all into your calculator, and the tan of 110 is negative 2.7475. 110 subtracted from 180 is 70. So now the rest we're going to do of 70. So the sine of 70 is 0.9397. The cos of 70 is 0.3420. And the tan of 70 is 2.7475. I want you to pause the video and I want you to fill in the rest of the chart. And then I'm going to put in all the rest of the answers so you can pause it and check your work. Okay, so this is the answers you should get. So some things that you should notice, aside from that the sines will have the exact same number, the cos will be the same number but opposite sign, and the tan will be the same number but opposite sign. Also, what you should take note of is that anything on this side of the chart is an obtuse angle. So these are all our obtuse angles. And everything to the right on the chart is these acute angles. When you have an acute angle, all of your answers will be positive. When you have an obtuse angle, cosine and tangent will be negative. So what comes out of that is these following equations. So the sine of theta is equal to the sine of 180 minus theta. The cos of theta is equal to negative cos of 180 minus theta, and tan theta is equal to the negative tan of 180 minus theta. All that is telling you is if you imagine a line and say this is your angle, and you measure this angle to be theta. Because we know a straight line is equal to 180, the rest of the line is 180 minus theta. And we should know that from unit 4 or unit 5. So together they make 180, but if you look at it, they're both the same line. They both use the same line for that angle. So they're the same angle, but they're measured from different spots. And you could write it the other way too. You could say that from here to here is theta. And from here to here is 180 minus theta. So using these, we can show why this angle and this angle, 180 minus theta and theta, how they're similar. Using different laws, that we can figure out that they're the same angle. So we're going to use that for the next example. So the sine of 20 degrees is equal to the sine of 130 degrees. So to figure out if this is valid, we're going to type each into our calculator. So type in sine of 20, and you should get 0.3420. Type in the sine of 130, and you get 0.7660. These numbers do not equal each other, so this is not valid. So those angles are not supplementary. We have the cos of 50 is equal to the negative cos of 130 degrees. So type this into your calculator. Cos of 50, you get 0.6427. For the next one, don't forget the negative sign, put a bracket. Cos of 130 is negative 0.6427. Because we have a negative and a negative right here, when we multiply those together, we will get a positive. Therefore, these two are equal, and this is valid. Example C. We have tan of 50 degrees and tan of 150. If you type this into your calculators, you get 1.1918 and negative 0.5774. So they're definitely not equal, so this is not valid. Okay, for example 3, we want to find the angle that will be equal for the ratio. So we're going to find the supplement. So we take 180 minus 20, and you get 160 degrees. So now we're just going to test that. So we're going to go sine of 20 is equal to 0.3420. Type in your calculator sine of 160, and you should get 0.3420. So we know that the sine of 20 degrees is equal to the sine of 160 degrees. So this is your final answer, showing it as two forms of sine equal to each other. So that is valid. So we're going to do the next one, 180 minus 40, and you get 140. We're going to do the cos of 40 and the cos of 140. Now remember, we're looking for opposite signs here. So the cos of 40 is 0.7660, and the cos of 140 is negative 0.7660. So we remember that we want to have the cos of 40 to be equal to the negative cos of 140. We'll just show that. So we have 0.7660 is equal to negative 0.7660. Two negatives make a positive, so these are in fact equal. So this is your answer. So now we're going to do the tan of 146. So we're going to take 180 minus 146, and you should get 34. The tan of 34 is equal to 0.6745. The tan of 146 is equal to negative 0.6745. And we remember that we want the tan of 34 to equal the negative tan of 146. So we have 0.6745 is equal to negative 0.6745. Two negatives make a positive. This works. This is our answer. Example 4a. Determine two angles from each of the following sine ratios. So we have 0.4521. So we want to find the angle from the decimal. So we're going to type into our calculator sine to the negative 1 of 0.4521. And you should get 27 degrees. Now when you do this, you're always going to get the acute angle. So we need to find the obtuse angle. So we take 180 minus 27, and you get 153. So we know that the sine of 27 is equal to the sine of 153. And if you showed that on a line, this would be your 27 degrees, and the rest would be 153 degrees. That's a terrible drawing. Oh well. Next one, 2/3. So you're going to take sine to the -1 of 2 divided by 3. So type that into your calculator. You should get 42 degrees. Our obtuse angle will be 180 minus 42, which is 138 degrees. So sine of 42 is equal to the sine of 138. If we had a 42-degree angle from here to here, the rest of it would be 138. 0.11, so you're going to take sine to the -1 of 0.11, and you should get 6 degrees. 180 minus 6 is 174 degrees. So this little guy would be 6. The rest would be 174.